Yeah, I'm thinking of what's gonna be our endpoint for the day, because, like, we're at 3 hours. This is, and there's still, like, quite a bit to go. I talk a lot. So we're on page 9. Did I mention there's 43 pages? Yeah. This is gonna be a long one. I warned you all. So, what is interesting to see again is we have these. Now, anyone who played Silent Hill 2 or saw my walkthrough of Silent Hill 2 will remember these giant white, like, fumigation tarp walls that is constantly used throughout the game. One moment here. Okay, one moment. I had just a little communication there. I had to complete. My apologies, everyone. I'm returned. Okay, so... But these giant, like, dirty white fumigation tarps everywhere in Silent Hill 2. And this is obvious asset reuse and a way to block off walls, but I think it's a really subtle way to be outside, not in Silent Hill, but establishing that you are essentially in the fog world. Which I do want to point out, this game does not take place in Silent Hill, at least at this point. Spoilers, I guess, but... the fact that the phenomenon is happening outside of Silent Hill, that's interesting. That's unique for the series. And we'll talk more about why later, and what that could mean later. I like Pretty Hate Machine, but it does, in a way, feel a bit corny, immature, and edgy in comparison to the later works. The Downward Spiral is basically an album of what the human condition looks like. 100% agree. And I still like Pretty Hate Machine. Like, it's got some fucking bangers on it. But it's just, like, it's a little more there's less balance compared to the later work. If you want, like, early, edgy Trent, easily the best is the Broken EP. Broken EP is, like, if you want pure edgelord rage... you're never going to get much harder than the drop of Pinion into Wish. It's so fucking good. The third level ceiling is crumbled. For safety's sake, entry is forbidden. Alright. Interesting. Oh, same sign. Guess we gotta keep going. I do think it is worth noting that, in comparison, it is interesting how... wait 1 minute. Guess there's someone else here. So it is interesting in comparison to, Silent Hill 1 and 2, which were much more open-ended in especially their introductions, but also just in their general progression. Silent Hill 3 is a very on-rails experience in comparison. It's very different. I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. I do think there is something lost with the more explorative aspects of 1 and 2, where it can be seen as padding, and I understand why they went the direction they did, but I think exploring vast, foggy streets, like, there's something to that, and I do miss that in Silent Hill, in Silent 3 in comparison. We don't really get a lot of that. Those are human legs. I got a silencer. Honestly, I understand what they're going for. Sort of like how you can sneak past enemies by turning off your flashlight. Kinda. They still detect sound, so not really, but... it's the same thing where it's like, there's minor stealth elements, but with the beef jerky, it's really an undercooked mechanic. There's no... I never find myself engaging with it outside of novelty. I can see legs through the broken part of the wall. I hope those are just mannequin legs, but I guess I'm not that lucky. Just like the black cat. Wish I hadn't seen that. So, what I really like about this is that's just a fucking corpse in a wall. Like, that's not a phenomenon. That's just an actual body. I like to think that in this real world, that actually just is a body that just got put in there by contractors. Like, that's just a fucking dead guy. That's nothing to do with this. I got hangable. Lots of empty balls and cans. It looks like someone was living here. Let's keep that in mind. Ugh, filthy mattress. Will you drop it into the hole? Yep. But yeah, someone's squatting in this condemned building. We'll touch on what I think about that momentarily. I think there's interesting implication there. Especially considering, I guess, spoilers for progression, how close this condemned building is to Heather's apartment. I think it does lead to something very interesting. We'll touch on that in a little bit here. Oh. Whoa. And we're fine. And we are in an office building. It is always so disorienting going into these environments without any sort of map. Let's see. Okay, that's the hall. I want to go here first. Now I remember. It's one of these rooms. Okay, this is the room I want. Okay. Cardboard boxes filled with arms and legs for mannequins. So what we have here are women's torsos, without heads, without legs, just boobs, reproductive organs. Except for this one. This one has a head. No legs. Can't move. Can't do something. But she has legs. She has a head. No, sorry. She doesn't have legs. I literally contradicted myself in a sentence. I am good English speak man. No legs. Can't move. But has her own head. I love how eerie, like, the way it's positioned. Where it's like, it's just this one alone, surrounded by all the others. Very eerie. This is the only mannequin with a head. There's something weird about the headless ones. Like, they can still see me or something. Ick. This is blood. I love this room. So this is an example of two things Silent Hill 3 does really well. And one thing I think it does better than the entire franchise is there's just these little scares that are entirely optional, entirely easily missable, but they're just there to fuck with you. And it's really unique to 3. 4 kinda had it with the room scares, but in my big dumb review of Silent Hill 4 The Room, I explained what my issues with all of that was. I don't think 4 nailed it that well, if at all. But I think 3 does it really well, because of how again, the progression door was the one on the left I intentionally skipped. This is so easily missable. So cool. But another thing, and how this is an example of something Silent Hill 3 does well, is how much more mean-spirited and personal Heather's experience at Silent Hill is in comparison to James's experience. A lot of the times in James's Silent Hill, it's more like it's indifferent to him. Like, it's almost like the phenomenon very rarely directly cares that much about James's involvement or presence in it at all. The lone exception to that being Pyramid Head. And I guess Maria, because she's also a monster, but with those as the lone exceptions, like, everything seems like very impersonal, detached, and cold in James' Silent Hill. There's something so much more explicit and mean and targeted about Heather's. And I really like that as a change, as it helps to change the tone. But just for the room itself, like, for what I mean about mean, that I'm pretty sure that was Heather's voice actress making that scream. So, but regardless, it is the head of, like, a woman screaming, decapitated. If that is not an implicit threat from the town, I don't fucking know what that is. It's... Ignoring that aspect, though, there is a good bit of symbolism here for this room that points to a larger trend in Silent Hill 3 that we've lightly touched upon. So what we have is all of the mannequins in the room are nothing but breasts, vagina, and like reproductive organs. Like breasts and reproductive organs. That's it. Except for this one. It had a head. It had its own head on its shoulders. It went away for a moment, and it was violently removed. You don't get that. The only one that had something that gave it individuality or its own identity, the only quote-unquote woman here, removed. Taken away. Fuck you. Interesting. And now, like all the rest, she's got boobies and a reproductive organ. Boobies in the womb. That's all she's got. It becomes this very, like, how do I phrase this kindly without making it sound like I believe it? Because it's a very harsh thing that I think is the intention of the symbolism here is essentially, I think what the threat is outside of the violence is you are only your reproductive organs. Who you are, who the woman is, and as the person experiencing it, who Heather is nothing but that. And anything that makes her an individual is irrelevant to her biological process as a woman. That's it. That's like the implicit little message there. At least in my opinion. It's a little bit of optional symbolism, but I think it's really cool. Blood. I hope that's not Chris's blood. I agree. I love Pretty Hate Machine, but it does feel a bit more on the edgelord spectrum in comparison to the Downward Spiral. Terrible Lie is the best song, Pretty Hate Machine. I forgot about that. I would agree. Terrible Lie is a great song. Terrible Lie holds up. Alright. Let's run! Oh wait, no, I don't want to go here. I want to go here. This is another example of the maps of Silent Hill 3 being really cool. So there's a little brochure on the desk here. And it's folded like a brochure. So it's like the paper's folded up. So you see the creases of it. Again, little shit like this is what set the Silent Hill games apart. Oh yeah, let's check this before we save. So we can have the full experience, baby. The drawer's open just a smidge. It must be rusted or something. I can't pull it out any further. Alright, so let's go. You know what? I'm feeling some... Alright, wait, is this it? Or am I, like, jumping the gun here? Oh, yeah, I'm jumping the gun here. On easy, you can just open the drawer. That's lame. I don't know. I think normal is a good balance here. Because I think the big thing is with easy... I don't know, because, like, I don't think the puzzles in this game are that hard. But I also feel like if you can just open the drawer, that kind of takes away some of the exploration aspect. That's really like the gameplay hook of Silent Hill 3. Or like Silent Hill games in general, is like exploring, finding puzzle items, slapping puzzle items on solution, and winning. Like, it's not the best gameplay hook in the world, but it is the hook. It does make dopamine flow when I hit button on button and slap thing together to make thing go. Do. Now, where's the art gallery? I think it's the 5th floor. Yes, that's where we want to go. And also, I want to turn the page, because I am finished with the analysis of that. Okay. Do. I think this is auto part. Yeah, it's locked. Okay. We want to go over here. There's a guest registration notebook on the reception desk. I think I can ignore it for now. Doesn't the hard mode puzzles require knowledge of Shakespeare's works? When I do the finished cut-up videos of this, I will link you specifically the part where I describe the Shakespeare puzzle and its absolute insane requirements on hard. Its title is Repressor of Memories. What the hell kind of title is that? I don't get this picture at all. Methinks the lady doth protest too much on that one. Oops. Looks like there was only a picture here. Looks like there was a picture here before. Only the caption's still around. Flame purifies all. Flame, eh? Well, I don't know what kind of picture it used to be here. But I'm not too fond of fire. It's scary somehow. So, Heather's scared of fire. Interesting. Doesn't like it very much. Okay, this is one of the best Easter eggs. Alright, so this is like a great Easter egg, actually. Let's see the price written here. There's a price written here. Let's see. 5,000. Man, what a world. So, fun fact about this exact $5,000 thing. If you look at Eileen's apartment in Silent Hill 4, she has this dumb $5,000 painting. It's in her apartment. So that's a fun detail. It's pretty fun. Now, this is a calm, relaxing picture. Mountain. Nice and simple. But that's like a little fun detail I remember really enjoying. Yeah, screwdriver. Nice. No, you know what I'm feeling though? You know what I'm feeling? Now that I remember this is the actual hallway that we need to do this dumb bit in. I'm feeling something in the air. I'm feeling some kind of weather effect. Some kind of storm that is approaching. This is what I mean about like this game having really over the top decisions. Like, this is a fucking katana in a Silent Hill game. You can do katana combos in a Silent Hill game. While you were having sex with vaguely feminine monsters, Heather studied the blade. And now when the world is in flames, and the pyramid heads are at the gate, you have the audacity to ask her for help. Alright, let's see. I remember one of these is the room we want. That's unlocked. There we go. That's some foreshadowing? Yeah, that's... This game is, it can be subtle, and sometimes, like, I actually think, when it comes to a lot of its bigger themes, I think it's way too subtle for its own good, and way too obtuse, but... Yeah, when it comes to, like, hammering in ideas like that, like, this game is... It is real in your fucking face. 'Cause, 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 Alright, so yeah, I think we got everything we need. Now we can go finish this part. It is kind of crazy how fast you can blast through a lot of this game if you know what you're doing. Because a lot of the time it's just me like sitting and talking shit, but this is mostly just like, okay, you go up a couple floors, get shit, go back down, get more shit, beat the area, boom. I think that's the wrong way. Yes, it is. This is the dance studio. Alright. Now we will overcome my weak baby hands to pry this open with a screwdriver. Alright, we got a rope. So we should not listen to Low Tier God, but we will use the rope for something more productive than what he has to say. Oh, wrong way. Alright, it's gonna get it in there. Now this is obscenely dangerous, but c'est la vie. And we're down. Another? That old familiar pattern is on a piece of paper stuck to the vending machine. Who the hell put it there? It's not like it's the latest fad or anything, right? There we go. Alright, let's go. Let us go beat the area. So, this is interesting. Green Ridge Mental Health Clinic. So, for the mental health clinic, I just want you to remember this part of the level on this side is essentially like a shrink's office. So this door with the 3 squares is a very interesting design, because if you remember, in Silent Hill 1, this is an exact door model that was used in the elementary school, in Midwich Elementary. The one with those 2 bodies that are revealed to be essentially Alessa's burned corpse on either side of it. So, yeah. Another callback to Silent Hill 1. It doesn't mean it's not important. It's more the fact I want to point out the sheer amount of callbacks there are to Silent Hill 1 in this game. I never caught that door from the elementary school. Yeah, it's a very easy blink and you miss it detail, but I don't know. Fascinating. Fascinating shit. Bathtub display. There's a dark red stain on the bottom. Oh, looks like a handle of some sort. Well.
I knew it.
It's being invaded by the other world, by a world of someone's nightmarish delusions come to life.
again. Did she do this too?
Well, that didn't go as planned. I'm twisting the handle when nothing's coming out. So, more cyclic imagery there. Heather turns the wheel, which becomes a transition to the other world. Just gonna say, we're gonna see more of that going forward. But another thing that's interesting is, as she turns the wheel, there's a lot of that red, again, Heather awakening to a red experience, blood, and Heather gets headaches and full body cramps of some kind, and we're in the other world. Just like what happened with the mall. I forget what the name of the mall is. Also, as I say, I do recognize that voice. We have ourselves another callback here. That is Harry Mason from Silent Hill 1, explaining his theory and also giving name to the nightmare, the other world. That's an odd spot to put a tub. Very strange, isn't it? Didn't turn out too well for that guy. Anyway. Got handgun bullets. The mummy-like thing in the wheelchair is just a doll. Or is it? Something about it makes me uneasy. Why, I wonder? Why is there a wheelchair in this building? Or a doll, for that matter? There's a doll in the wheelchair. I have a bad feeling about it. There's what appears to be a baby doll in the wheelchair. Getting a real bad feeling to Heather. We also have this gentleman here. Holding the same doll. Hanging in a very familiar position, if you remember from the amusement park opening and the 3 cages of the same hanging figure. But there appears to be some sort of scissors or forceps in his hand there, next to where he's hanging. So we've seen this guy a few times now, actually. At the very beginning of the game, in those cages, in the elevator transition, and now we see him here. I'm going to give a brief introduction to the character of Valtiel, or Valtiel. I'll call him Valtiel going forward, though I'm pretty sure that's an incorrect pronunciation. That's just how I've always said it, so... C'est la vie. Of course, as I'm very tired of saying, and I imagine the audience is extremely tired of hearing, I can't fully get into him this session. Everything about Valtiel is spoilers. Everything about it. He is... If there are 4 core characters to the game, I spoke incorrectly when I said that. There's 5, and he's one of them. But you wouldn't really know it. He's real much a background figure. But he's always there. He's always making his presence known in these little insidious ways that he's always just kinda there. And I love that. I love the presentation of Valtiel in this game. Such a fun little critter. In a horrible, disturbing kind of way. I just do want to point out, though, how often he has appeared. Like, he's appeared 3 times with no proper introduction. Just there. Always. Outside of Heather, he is the most frequently seen character so far, actually. Which is really interesting. But I just want to point out another thing about Valtiel for future reference. And I'm going to put a video of this in the finished videos of this. I think it is fascinating that if you get a game over in certain sections of the game, Valtiel here can be seen dragging Heather's corpse off somewhere. I don't know how to trigger that. I've experimented and I've screwed around and I can't get it to work consistently. I just know that that is a game over option where you will die and Valtiel will drag Heather's corpse off fucking somewhere. There is an explanation to that. But we'll get to that. It's a very interesting, easy to miss detail that I think is very important to his character. Let's move on, though. We'll talk about Valtiel more when the situation calls for it. Heather goes through so much crap in this game. Yeah, Heather gets it rough. I really like that about her experience with Silent Hill in comparison to James's. That is much more, like, targeted and visceral. So if you remember, this is the mental health clinic we're entering. So this is interesting. Sometimes I wonder if Claudia herself is some sort of god. I wouldn't say Claudia herself is some sort of god, but obviously, like, spoilers. I'll get into that when we really get into Claudia's character in 2 and especially part 3 of the series. But I think there's an aspect to Claudia as a character that I think is really fascinating. But we'll talk more about Claudia later. And kind of like my stance on her as a character. But this is another detail I think is really interesting. Is this photo here? Heather, read the photo. Pick up. Oh, there's something here. Find the Holy One. Kill her? That's me. Who could have taken this photo? So we've seen a few examples of threats to female safety and female-tinged horrors. This is a direct stalker fear, and that's going to be a very common element of unwanted predatory male attention, specifically male attention, from masculine figures in this game. Valtiel stalking her, Douglas cornering her in a bathroom, and someone we're going to meet very shortly who may or may not have taken this photo, and who may or may not have been the squatter in the apartment outside, the squatter in the condemned building outside of what we're going to learn after this, I guess, dungeon, is essentially next door to Heather's home. Heather's own apartment. I don't think it's a coincidence that the character we're about to meet is right before this veiled, like barely veiled threat of maybe just kill Heather. Maybe just kill the Holy One, this picture of Heather, in front of her to find in the open. Interesting. That is really creepy, isn't it, Heather? I always get lost in this building. This is the first level in the game that really feels like a traditional Silent Hill level to me. This is one of the only 3, I would say, really fit the bill. And that's a damn shame. It's definitely, in my opinion, a result of Silent Hill 3's budget and release rush issues. But we'll get to that tomorrow when we talk about the most egregious example of asset and content reuse in this game. Probably the game's biggest flaw from a gameplay perspective. But let's get to a cutscene.
Heather. That's what you're called now, isn't it?
And who are you?
The name's Vincent. Don't forget it, okay? I'm on your side.
So you say. But how do I know you're not with her?
Her? You mean Claudia? Please don't lump me together with her. She was totally brainwashed by that crazy old hag. Well, I guess crazy old hag is a bit harsh. She is your mother, after all.
My mother? What do you mean?
You don't remember? Ah, so Harry didn't tell you anything. I guess he hid the truth to keep you on his side, eh? That figures. He's a pretty sneaky guy.
Don't talk about my dad like that!
Sorry. I apologize. Please, calm down.
How do you know my father anyway?
I know everything. I know about your past, too.
Then tell me what's going on.
You don't know even that?
That's why I'm asking. If you know everything, then tell me how I can put an end to this.
Not yet. Why not enjoy yourself a bit longer?
Enjoy? I feel like I'm going crazy. Does this place get to you at all?
Oh, it gets to me, all right. I find it most fascinating. Wait! I'm not finished talking!
I knew you were on her side.
How do you figure?
There's something wrong with you, too.
So that's Vincent. Yet another creepy male figure that Heather is forced to interact with. I do find there's a lot of things about that scene I find really interesting, so we'll talk about it right now. Because, I don't know if I'm going to say he's my favorite character in the game, but there's something about Vincent, like, every time he's on screen, I like it. Like, he's, not to give too much away, because, like, there is more to Vincent as a character, and I do think it's, like, he is compelling in his own weird way, but he's such a straightforward sack of shit that I can't help but just love to hate him. He's such a piece of garbage. I don't think I'll go in this room. That weird guy's in there. Good call. But let's just go over the lore stuff and the conversation that he's doing. So he name drops someone named Harry. We'll just let that sit. But what's interesting about the way the scene is initially framed is that photo is placed right before the room Vincent's in, directly before it, a photo of Heather with a veiled threat to kill her, and he's sitting beside a psychiatrist's desk, a doctor's desk, a figure of authority's desk. And he keeps talking about how much he knows everything, like coyly letting on that he knows more about the situation, but he just doesn't quite want to tell her. And then the whiplashing emotions he has throughout the entire conversation. He starts off as this fake, jovial, friendly guy. Then he's belittling her. Then he's scared of her because, like, she's clearly angry that he's being a dick. May as well be saying, it's just a prank, bro, in the most eloquent, nerd way possible. And then when she tries to leave, he's just angry at her. Snaps, instant. So he's just constantly whiplashing throughout the scene. So Silent 3, as we've already established, plays around with a lot of, like, female-based fears and horror. And a lot of relations that, well, negative relations that women might have with men. And what Vincent really represents going forward, and we're going to see this a lot, is he is passive threats of soft manipulation and authority. He's using his knowledge of the situation and his position of a perceived authority to try to manipulate Heather, a younger girl, again, teenage girl, a kid, into doing what he wants. Getting what he wants out of her. In any way he really can. Because what's so interesting about that to me is he's whiplashing. He's going back and forth, trying like any sort of path that's gonna get him get what he wants out of Heather, which we don't quite know yet. But he's trying anything he possibly can. And I think it is interesting, as we talked about before, I think that this is where they nailed the voice acting. Vincent's the closest this game gets to the very strange, off-kilter performances of Silent Hill 1 and 2. But I feel like in this case, it's very much intentional. He has this sing-songy, like, uncanny, for lack of a better expression, delivery of all of his lines until Heather tries to leave. Suddenly that stops. Suddenly Vincent gets angry, and there's none of that ridiculous cadence to his voice. He just sounds like an angry dude. Like, he just sounds like, wait, I'm not finished talking. He doesn't sound like this weird, dream-like Silent Hill character anymore. He just sounds like some petty sack of shit. And I want you to keep that in mind going forward. He can just drop that in a minute. And I think that's really fascinating for the Vincent character. There's a junior high school chemistry book here. When you pour diluted hydrogen peroxide onto manganese dioxide, oxygen is produced. I am not big smart science bin. Although oxygen will not burn on its own, it will help other things to burn. Fire good. Yeah, it's like Frankenstein. Fire good. Nah, I can just oversave this one. It was just a cutscene. Alright. So, let's continue. We're going to see the worst enemy in this entire game. But it does let me talk about some of the game design aspects a little more, since we're only doing story so far. Where's that piece of shit? There they. No, it's the dog. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Meat Slurper. We'll get better looks at them later, but I hate those things so much. Whoa, let's go here. Vincent gives me mixed vibes, honestly. I agree. Especially in this scene, I think the intent is Vincent is, in a game of unreliable side characters, Vincent is the least reliable of all. I do think there is a very solid, like, I think there's a very solid take on Vincent by the very end. Like, you know exactly who this guy is and what his deal is. At the very end, though. So what's that? So when I first played this game, this honestly was one of the most frightening things I saw. So I was like quite young, and just walking in and seeing this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Glutton. Let's go examine. What the hell? I don't want to get too close, but I don't think it'll attack me now. Why not? I'll bark and no bite. Anyhow, it's in the way. I can't get past it. And it's the ground floor, too. It's ought to be the exit. What a pain. We'll talk more about the Glutton in a little bit here. But we have a little storybook. A book's line here. Looks like a fairy tale. Once upon a time, there was a monster living at the gates of a village. It was a very scary and a very... Oh, sorry, excuse me, I was hiccuping there. It was a very scary and a very bad monster. It would catch people and crunch them up with its big teeth. The villagers were afraid of the monster, and no one would dare approach the gates. Everyone was stuck inside the village. When the king heard about this, he summoned his knights. The knights eagerly rode out to defeat the monster. Ha! Take that! Taste the pain! Their swords slashed and their spears flashed, but the monster wouldn't die. The monster tossed the knights into its mouth, one by one, horses and all. What was the king to do? He fretted and fussed and paced the floor, but he could not think of no solution. Soon after, the village priestess came to the castle. She was a very kind and good person. The king asked her to defeat the monster guarding the gates. Book's torn. The rest is missing. I remember reading this a long time ago. I think I borrowed it from someone. I don't remember how it ended, though. Ugh. Didn't I read the story through to the end? So, the storybook is another callback to Silent Hill 1, and more importantly, it shows another hint at Heather's lost memories, so to speak. Her poor memory. She read the story, but it's like, oh, I just can't remember this. Ah. So what exactly is the glutton? Well, let's go finish the storybook and talk about it. Honestly, as someone who has been around with crazy people in my life, this game captures my fear of fear of what I fear about some guys, men in general. Yeah, like I gotta say, Silent Hill, like you can say what you want about Silent Hill 3. This game fucking, you could tell that this was like heavily impacted by the lady developers at Team Silent. And that's why I don't ever want to hear that these games are not all hands on deck collaborative efforts. Because, like, this is so pointed for female fears, you cannot tell me. Let's ignore him. For some reason, the only thing in the fridge is liver. I hope it's not rotten. Pork liver. There's shotgun shells, I really want them, but Uh-oh. Oh! 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 Alright, we're fine. Wasn't scared for a minute. Alright, I don't have anything to say until the rest of the storybooks. Let me turn the page here while I have the chance, because, you know, I gotta be orderly. Alright, let's go. So we got pork. Okay, let's make sure I have my stock. Okay, so I have 2 of the 3 things we need. Fantastic. I think it's the 4th floor we want to go to. Oh, let's try anything. 2? Alright, fuck it, let's try. No, we want to go to 2 because we go to the 4th from the 5th. Okay, I remember. No, we don't want to go to 2 because that's where we just came from. I'm a fool. I'm a fool. Oh, that's the Slurper. That's... Alright, so now that I can take a chance to talk to the Slurper, I can say why I hate the Slurper. It's that. It's just that. It's the fact that they can just knock you down like that is infuriating. But it does tie into the game design aspects of Silent Hill 3, is the enemies and their primary threat is area denial. Which is really interesting, because one of the problems of Silent Hill 1, but especially Silent Hill 2, is that it was really easy just to outrun every single enemy. Like, enemies really were not that threatening, even on hard in that game. With one very notable exception with the Pyramid Head chase. But what makes Silent Hill 3, generally from a gameplay perspective, much more engaging and also much more difficult than the past 2 games. Love the audio design, but what makes it more difficult and more challenging is the fact that the enemies are much more aggressive. They represent much more area denial, where either they are slow but their attacks are extremely powerful, and in another case have quite a bit of range, as we're going to see, or it's like the Slurper there, where it can just knock you down or grab you. Those are its 2 attacks, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. It is fast, and it's on your ass in a heartbeat. There's Voltaire again. Surrounded by other corpse models. I Have we seen those before? Maybe the one unique individual one at the amusement park? Maybe something from Silent Hill 1? I don't know. Let's move on. Locked. Locked. Fuck. Alright. Oh, okay, I do think it is the 5th floor. Do. Yeah. I do really like this environment, actually. This is like the first proper Silent Hill level in the game. And I appreciate that. Yeah, okay, I remember. It's like that way's blocked and we go this way. Okay, fantastic. Now, slurpers. Alright, well, we're gonna go the other way. Haha. I guess we're not. Haha. I was wrong. Oh, shit. Alright, we're gonna go this way. Haha. Alright, we're actually gonna kill the slurpers in the hallway here, because there is something I want to show off that is very unfortunate. Got a matchbook. That's what we need. This is a little bit of character detail I like. No more cigarettes for me. I quit for good. So Heather was a smoker, despite only being 17. And she had to quit nicotine. Ah! But it's a very little detail, but I like that about Heather, actually. It's like, it implies there's a more troubled past to the character than what the audience is privy to. Oh, I got a lot of bullets. Oh, yeah, it's all come together. I'm stalking shit up. Even Claudia perfectly captures the fear that I have of crazy or mentally ill women, too. Yeah, I think, I would say there is a difference in the kind of crazy of Claudia and Vincent, but we'll get to that in the second one, where I suppose a little spoiler is, how crazy is Vincent really? Or is he just good at playing it? We'll get to that, though. Claudia, though, nah, she's off her goddamn rocker. She's nuts. But yeah, I am stacked. We can start playing crazy now. I hate that I keep saying it, but it's like, I do think once we get to the second half of the game, a lot of the discussion is going to be far more interesting, because we can really get into it. But because of the rules I've imposed on myself in the first Silent Hill in depth, like, 6 years ago now, which is crazy to say out loud, but it is the case, but 6 years ago now, well, no, 5 years ago now, I'm stupid, but 5 years ago now, because of those rules I made back then, it's making the conversation for this really difficult. I definitely agree that the game had female developers around the time to get the right idea of how crazy or Looney Tunes people work. And also just like little things like the objectification. Like, one of the things I really like is how voyeuristic the camera work in the game is, in the cutscenes especially. It's like very creepy. Like, it does get that stalker feeling even when there's nothing around. So, I wanted to kill them for this, though. I wanted to kill those little enemies so we could get a clear look at this glass mirror to a reference to a movie. This is a very famous image from a movie called Session 9 that loosely inspired... It's a very loose inspiration on this game. Session 9 basically only inspired a lot of the Otherworld rot aesthetic. Like the rust rot aesthetic of the Otherworld. Session 9 had that in spades, because it's a movie about an extremely creepy gothic mental institution getting like refurbished and or torn down for parts by a bunch of contractors, and then spooky shit starts happening. But this image is directly from that movie. So it's sort of like a little nod that's like, hey, this is one of our visual influences. But Session 9, okay movie. There's a big sheet of glass in the way. It doesn't break when I hit it, so maybe it's not glass after all. I don't know why, but the world on the other side is calling to me. Well, that's not good. Let's save the game. Although this is a fantastic touch, the painting here was called the Repressor of Memories. What has replaced the Repressor of Memories? The save symbol that Heather, for some reason, just can't seem to remember. I'm back. I'm at the gym now. Oh my god, you're lifting to Silent Hill. There should be a boss fight around the corner here, so hopefully you're going to get some more aggressive-ass tunes to lift to. And here it is. All the others are gone, but we now have Flame Purifies All. Woman clad in white, long black hair, burning, with something behind her. We've seen this woman before, haven't we? But we'll get to that later, now won't we? There's a caption under the picture. Flame purifies all. By these remains may a person find the road to paradise. I've seen this picture before. No, wait. I've never seen it. But I do know it somehow. My signature antagonist monster, the Lord Master. The Shock Master. We already refought the Lord Master, though he is the Shock Master, as we have decided to call him. So let's combine all this together, and let's burn the thing that needs to be purified. If flame does indeed purify all. Gotta burn our way through, huh? He's not having a very good time. But this isn't about him. Hey, it's a storybook. What might this be? The rest of that fairy tale I read earlier? Alright, let's go into fairy tale reading voice once again. The priestess accepted the king's request and went to the village gates, but when she saw the monster, she tried to convince it with words instead of killing it. Shut up, you! I'm going to eat you up! The monster didn't listen to a word the priestess said, but she kept trying to convince the monster to give up. It's wrong to eat people, you know. The monster grew very angry at this and attacked her, killing her with a single mighty blow. What's really interesting about this section of the game with the storybook is you can actually read these out of order, and Heather will have different responses to the different pages depending on which order you read them in. It's only the second, and it's only the first and the second that you can swap, but it is interesting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright, let's run. Oh. God damn it. Oh, their hitbox is so aggressive! God damn it! Alright, it's unlocked. Huh. Just a perfectly normal bed. Just a perfectly normal bed. Nothing there, nothing under it. Just a perfectly normal bed. Is that a health kit? And bullets? Wow! That's a present. Nothing bad. Oh no! Ah shit, okay, now I'm actually annoyed. Come on, just let me get the things. Man, I forgot forgot how grungy and industrial a soundtrack this one could get. Like, I remember Silent Hill 1 had that real heavy industrial noise, but, like... And that's still probably, like, the most raw of any of the Silent Hill soundtracks, but... This one ain't no slouch, man. How was the gym, Bob Smith? Gyms are awesome. How was the gym? He's there right now! Unlock, because I can get out of here. Nope. I need to get out of here. I got a silver coin. Man, I don't know why. Whenever I see this, all I can think of is Chrono Trigger. And my name is Gato. I have middle joints. Beat me up, and I'll give you 15 silver points. It's about the size of a quarter. I get the feeling it's really old. There's something written on the wall. Thus one's life turns to riches. What was a bag of silver coins is now a number in a book. Yet faith hath no price. Fate hath no price. Ah, but do people know this? That's the plain old vending machine. This one is selling canned drinks. Come to think of it, I am kind of thirsty. I'd feel weird drinking anything sold in a place like this, though. Well, you know, I could also go for a delicious Dr. Pepper right... What do you mean? Ah, yes, the survival horror staple. The PS2 survival horror staple of items don't work unless you're face fucking the object. That's not what Docky Peppy sounds like. Say, what? Man. I had a little diet sheet today, and I had a Mountain Dew Baja Blast. That shit is good. It is good. All right, so we got a key to life insurance. Let's get out of here. BRB running life insurance scam to make fat stacks o' cash. I think I know where we're going to stop today as well. I think I actually know where we're going to wrap up. I know. I got it. Because it has been 4 hours. And this is a game that usually you can clear in like 5 hours. So, and we're not even at the halfway point yet. And I'm only on page 12 of 43. So, you know. You know. I did warn you guys. This was gonna be a long one. And we have the end of the fairy tale. The king and his people shed tears at the death of the kind priestess. God took pity upon them and, granting their wishes, healed the priestess. The priestess opened her eyes, just as she had done every morning of her life. She went once more to the monster's lair. Fool, you wish to die again? No, this time it's your turn. The priestess had come to defeat the monster once and for all. As the priestess was very, very kind, she felt sad about this task, but it had to be done. Swords and spears won't work. Arrows and bullets will just bounce off. You can't kill me, the monster laughed. But the priestess used neither sword nor spear. She chanted but a single spell. I won't use the dumb, British girl voice. Tu fui, ego eris. Do you know what happened then? The monster let out a huge cry and then died and vanished. Thus the villagers were able to use their gates once more. Everyone lavished their gratitude upon the priestess, and they all lived happily ever after.
fui ego eris. Weird writing. What was that?
I'm all for it. I work at 11 p.m. Okay, so to be fair, the one downside is if I don't stop at the point I'm thinking that we stop tonight, we're going to go for another 2 hours. It's gonna be excessive because there's a certain point, that's essentially the halfway point, where it is gonna be a long ass sit down and just talk into a mic moment. I don't hear breathing anymore. So yeah, if we don't stop there, we're not gonna have any sort of reasonable stop tonight. So we're gonna go for a little while longer, like 30 minutes. 30, 45 minutes at most. It's gone. So what is the glutton? What was it? Well, you know, we'll just be as blunt as we were for the split-head worm, the penis monster. That's a giant fetus. The glutton is a giant fetus. Essentially, you see the glutton, it's connected to this, like, this industrial tube-like system. It's this writhing mass just sitting there, consuming and growing. And there's 2 heads there. That's the real interesting detail, though. We'll get to why the 2 heads is interesting later. But there's a top head and another head closer to the torso or stomach area, which is going to be really interesting for something later that we can actually get into when the twist is discussed. Now, let's also read the Book of Lost Memories quote about the glutton. Although it is a quote-unquote monster that appears in a story from a picture book, its form is manifested by the power of the otherworld. Doesn't tell you much, but all it needs to tell you is the form it takes is a direct way to fuck with the dreamer, or, as we went over with the sewer workers memo, the fact that there might be multiple dreamers, so one of them, at least. Now, let's go with that Latin phrase, tu fui ego eris, which killed the glutton and made it go away. What does that mean? So it's a rough translation, but the translation from Latin comes off as, weirdly enough, is a rough translation because it's much longer than 4 words, but as you are, I was. As I am, so shall you be. Let's say that again. Let's have that sink in. Tu fui ego eris means, as you are, I was. As I am, so shall you be. I think, like the cycles, like the moths, like a lot of other things, this is referencing reincarnation and rebirth. And the fact that this phrase kills the glutton, when you say this phrase, the glutton is gone and dead, I think what this could be implying is that the one speaking the phrase, Heather in this case, is the one replacing the glutton in some sort of cycle. As you are, I was, and as I am, so shall you be. An endless cycle of sorts. We'll actually get to talk about the implications of that probably at the beginning of tomorrow. I mean, I don't gotta be there till 4 in the afternoon, and it's not like Dave doesn't podcast mode for like an hour every stream. That's the Link of Kings. You got the Link of Kings in ya, brother. I sound like such a freaking geek for finding deep meaning in these games that came out 21 years ago. Alright, Tomboy, I have made like 10... I made like an 8-hour live stream analysis and a 12-hour live stream analysis for Silent Hill 1 and 2 respectively, and this one's looking like it's gonna be a 15-hour plus analysis of Silent Hill 3. You're in good company here. We're geeky boys who like geeky things. We're just goofy little guys. Wall's still here. Yeah, we are join the club. We're goofy little gremlins who enjoy goofy little things and talking about how much we love them. God. And of course, the Daisyville apartments. Like what Heather wrote on her key so she could be robbed more easily. This is the most Resident Evil camera angle in the entire game, by the way. Like, that's fucking Resident Evil. I am a nerd that mogs jocks. Hell yeah. That's the way to be. What's this doing here? That really pisses me off. It's like having someone spit in your sacred place. Looking at this makes my head hurt. What does it mean? Alright, everybody. Once again, get ready for a shitload of cutscenes that we're going to have a shitload of time to talk about, because this is the official reveal halfway point. If you're familiar with Silent Hill games and or the Silent Hill series beforehand, you know. Doom has seen me. Dude, we fucking trained together, man. Like, no, I've full seen you, dog. I've lost weight since you see me. No, I believe that. Like, you're down to I think the 230 to 220 range. Like, that's fucking super insane. Like, hell yeah, man. So this is it. Be warned, this is gonna be a lot of cutscene. Yeah, 235. Dude, fuck yeah. Hell yeah. And that 230 range, fuck yeah. That's sick. I've been slacking. Hey, I don't know. It's like, when people say they've been slacking after, a lot of progress, it's like, it's good. It's all good, man. Like, gotta rest on the mountain as you're climbing it, you know what I mean? That's corny. But yeah, this is gonna be a lot of cutscene. So, I'm just gonna let it speak for itself, and then we're gonna have to have a big chat. So...